grateful that you are here. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you showing up each week. And if you have any married couple friends or family or loved ones that you think could benefit from some of the topics that we talk about, I would love it if you would share this with them. It's where you can copy the link and just text it over, or even just mention the secrets of happily ever after to them, because I think there are so many marriages that could really benefit from ways to be intentional and to really create the happily ever after love story that you've always imagined. So today I'm really excited to talk about the 4 levels of intimacy and the intimacy quiz that we created over the summer. So at the time of this recording, a couple thousand of you have taken the intimacy level quiz and gotten your results. And that makes me so giddy for several reasons. One, I'm really excited at the number of people who are at the top intimacy level, level 4. Their level is the whole package, which means that you're doing very well with both emotional and physical/sexual intimacy. However, there's always room for improvement. So just the fact that you're taking the quiz means that you're looking for ways to improve. And that makes me so happy. 60.2% of you got that highest level of intimacy. And then level 3, which is emotional besties, 19.3, so almost 20% of the people who have taken the quiz thus far are emotional besties. Now, it's awesome to feel close emotionally to your spouse. However, very few marriages can survive or fully thrive without fully embodying the physical, sexual aspect of their relationship. So a lot of marriages will go through kind of dry spells or periods of time where they're not quite as sexually connected, but in order to stay really solid and strong over the long term, we've got to reconnect in that area and really figure out how to be more physically intimate with each other. And that doesn't always mean intercourse. It encompasses all different types of ways that you can make each other feel good and really bring pleasure into your relationship. So for that 20%, I'm going to be publishing lots of episodes on how we can really strengthen that more physical part of your relationship. And then 10% of you are hot and heavy, which means that you've really got the physical, sexual part of your relationship dialed in, but maybe some of that emotional intimacy is lacking, which also can be really problematic over the long run, because that sexual energy is great, but we want to create a really intimate friendship. We want to create trust in the ability to share our lives with each other. And so as we age and we start to go through the challenges of our children leaving the home and our parents starting to age and pass away, we need that strength, that friendship, that ability to share these emotional trials with each other and know how to really be each other's friend and advocate and supporter. So that's going to be really important too. So we'll talk a lot about emotional intimacy in the coming episodes. And then 9.9, or basically 10% of you got intimacy level 4. And maybe I did that backwards. The top is 1 and the bottom is 4, or maybe that's backwards. But the lowest level of intimacy, which is kind of cold and disconnected. So if you got a 4, you are in the right place, because there's nowhere to go but up. And we're going to make sure that we talk a lot about how to develop all the different pillars of intimacy. So I'm actually certifying with Elisa DiLorenzo of One Extraordinary Marriage. She wrote the book 6 Pillars of Intimacy. And so she is certifying coaches to coach in the 6 pillars of intimacy. So I'm really excited to dive deeply into each of those 6 pillars so that we can strengthen not only emotional intimacy, but also financial, recreational, physical, spiritual, and sexual intimacy. So I'm really excited to kind of let you follow along with me as I work on all of those. And I want to leave you with two really important things if you're just getting started, or if you want to improve your level of intimacy, the level of intimacy that you got on the quiz. Even if you got the highest level, the whole package, there's always room for improvement, right? And so I'm going to give you two ways that you can really work on raising the level of intimacy in your marriage across all the 6 pillars. And the first one is intentionality. I want you to focus on intentionally strengthening your marriage. And in order to do this, it takes actually both partners to focus attention on the marriage. So I know lots of marriage coaches out there and experts like to say that it only takes one person to completely change a marriage. And that's not exactly accurate, because if you want an extraordinary marriage, if you want a truly happily ever after, then it takes both partners intentionally working on being the best that they can be. It takes both partners learning how to create an intentionally and intimate friendship. However, there's always things that you can do personally to improve your experience in the marriage, and we'll talk a lot about that in the weeks to come. But if you want to really raise your level of intimacy, it's going to take intentionality on both partners' parts. So that's number one. I want you to talk to your spouse. Even if you're at the lowest level, you might want to say, hey, I would love to work on raising our level of intimacy in our marriage. And I'm really excited about this I'm listening to and all of the resources that my friend Monica of Secrets of Happily Ever After is producing. And so I think if we both work on it, we can really put our marriage into overdrive so that we're both getting a ton out of it. And if you're at the highest level, you can just go to your spouse and say, hey, I think we have an awesome marriage, but wouldn't it be great if we worked together to even build it even stronger? And again, you can mention the resources. So that's number one. It's intentionality. It's working with your partner, with your spouse, and both of you being aware of and intentionally putting time, energy, and financial resources into improving your relationship. That's number one. And number two, the second thing that I want you to do in order to really raise the level of intimacy in your marriage, and this is going to seem very simple, but it's going to have a profound effect on the closeness that you're able to develop with your spouse. So number two is to get to know yourself really well. Now, when we're married, especially if we've been married to the same person for a very long time, we can start to kind of meld ourselves together with them in all kinds of different ways. And one of my favorite movies that really illustrates this concept is called Runaway Bride. So it's got Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, and they are such a great pair, but she has such a hard time committing to getting married because every time she's with a different guy, she kind of changes her preferences. So she changes the way she likes her eggs cooked and what she likes to do in her free time and how she dresses and does her hair according to what the guy likes. So that's kind of an extreme example, but we tend to do that. We tend to kind of put our preferences aside for the sake of the marriage, or to kind of keep the peace, or to get along well, or, just to have something in common with our partner. And what I want you to do this week until our next episode is to really think about who you are as a human. I want you to kind of take inventory of your life. Are you eating the kind of eggs that you really like, or are you just making the kind of eggs that your partner and your children like to eat? Are you honoring your own goals? Are you spending time developing your talents or following your own interests? Are you reading about things that excite you? Are you taking time to relax and partake in things that make you feel good about yourself and who you are? So developing that really strong sense of self and getting to know yourself as a separate person from your partner is going to do wonders for how you feel about sharing your life long term with your spouse. So those are the two things I want you to really think about and work on this week. They are, number one, being intentional about improving your relationship with your partner, and number two, getting to know yourself and really developing that strong sense of self separate from your partner. And also, if you have not yet taken the intimacy level quiz, I want you to go either to my website, www.secretsofhappilyeverafter.com, or you can click on the link in the show notes and it will take you to this quick 3-minute quiz. Quizzes are so fun because you get to know more about yourself and your relationship. And if they're well put together, which I guarantee we've spent a lot of time putting together this quiz, you can really learn how to improve things. So you'll get your quiz results and then you'll have an idea of what you can do to raise your level of intimacy, which is awesome. So make sure that you work on those things this week. And if you want to connect further, find me on Instagram because I hang out there a lot. You can reach out to me on Messenger or by email and let me know what your quiz results are. And if you have any questions at all about anything you've heard on the podcast or in your quiz results, or just in general about how to improve intimacy in your relationship or communication or connection or anything for that matter, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. To learn more ways to deepen your intimacy and strengthen your relationship, make sure you watch this video next.